All right. So we can start off the Leonis division now. So we've got X, obviously a veteran is the word I'm looking for of the WDL. He's played since season 1, again of the guild Lucis. Went with SHOOMETAL Alchemists. He's had a few different names that he was like shuffling around with, trying to form Shoe Puff with Full Metal Alchemist. But I like SHOOMETAL Alchemist a lot. It flows pretty well, I think. So right out of the rip, grabs King Bradley in the first round at 110 costs. And so now the question is, like, what do you pair him up with? Grabbing Zazan in the third, I think, was very, very smart because you don't necessarily know who you're going to pair him up with at that point, but you know guaranteed like you're going to have some decent flexibility on whatever you want to grab later on. Valade is very, very good at 50. I've said this before. I like the double fire magic glove synergy between Roy and Kefka that you can form in with Zazan. The full UR team that he can make is pretty gross, I feel like, with Fryevia, Ravi's Winter, and Frederica Halloween. I think that's quite strong, personally. And just look at the Frederica Halloween King Bradley. King Bradley is not an evade unit, but like I've seen him dodge some stuff if you invest with some Earth like VCs and stuff like that. And X is the guy that built an evasion curry was at in season 1. So I would not put it past him to run an evasion Bradley and Frederica and catch his opponent off guard, thinking that, you know, you might not run into an evasion team. So I think he had a lot of cool stuff here, a lot of creativity, and obviously the piece de resistance at the end, Zoma on the 11th round. That's his boy. Managed to get him in the final round. I really like this draft. It is very, very X, and it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I think Machen is one of those kings of the cold triangle, right? Alongside probably Ram now. He's always running that strategy, but this time he diversified with a little bit of fire and some strong a strong lightning option on Cloud. So yeah, this one is in one of the strongest teams I think across all 4 divisions.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good.
I agree.
Yeah, shout out Mention, man. We're good friends now. We've messaged each other quite a lot. I feel like you mentioned, we kind of well,
you're too damn likable, Ram. You're friends with everybody.
Way too friendly.
The thing is, we share a lot of like principles and like philosophies in terms of how we build comps, the things we look out for. Mention, I'm sorry, I'm going to give away a few of your secrets. I see what you've done here. You touched on it, Kason, right? That triple UR combination that he has is disgusting because they actually share some good job VC synergy. So that comp is going to be very fast, very tough to take down. And then what you guys have done in this division, you've let a traditional ice and earth player get King Bradley, and then he shielded him perfectly with all these. He's dotted in these ice element units, so you can't really hard counter him.
Yeah,
I mean, he's done an amazing job, and based on his pedigree, he's definitely a player favorite, should we say?
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. So one of the spiciest teams coming up next, and I'll probably let Turambar take the wheel on this one, but I absolutely love the aesthetic he went with. It's Sand Rooster of Get Swifty, Unicorn Gunfight with the Jaden with the unicorn horn on there. And Turambar, I know you guys, we're in the lab together, Get Swifty, so I'll let you take this draft here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my boy Rooster here with the really, really strong draft. You see a lot of commonalities between some of our players, and Edward again, first round is one of those. He was in the second spot though, so he did have a decision to make, right? Because one of the things that we were discussing was the value between Sephiroth and Edward on the second pick. We all knew that Machen was taking Bradley. Like there was no way to stop that with the first pick overall, right? But Edward on the second pick was, we had a little bit of a discussion about it. We ended up all basically deciding that he was better than Sephiroth overall, just in terms of cost and the things that he provides. But Rooster, got away with a lot of things here. Like got away with Ravi's on the second round, which is one of those really, really strong tanks at low cost. Phoebe on the third round, I think, fairly priced with a 50 cost, really, really great. Support unit, Run and, mentioned he was really high on our board. is an incredible unit, and Bram proved that last season. I think he hasn't slowed down. Urel with that pair for Edward, I think that was one of the picks that kind of like slipped away on his because there was a lot of competition on the strike comps on this division. But grabbing Urel and pairing her with Edward, I think it's a great combo. But then the biggest two I think steals are 6 and 7 with Jaden and Marielle. Right, Jaden should not be a 6th-round pick. Like
No way.
that shouldn't. It just like it was a steal on my draft at the 4th round. On the 6th round, that's
not legal.
insane. Like it should be illegal. He got away with it, so all the props to him. But Marial is almost as important on the 7th round. So I mean, amazing job. He has the fire angle as well, similar to my team with Alida and Elvira. And then he closed up with Therese, that 70 cost missile unit pair for Jaden, similar to what I did with Lucia. And finally with Gargus, who provides a lot of value as a magic, just insane DPS with the long range. So yeah, Rooster, great job. And I think he's one of the better teams overall.
I agree fully. Yeah.
And he's a great player too. So
yep.
I just want to say really quickly, you guys over there at Get Swifty, you guys suck.
You guys got to keep it to yourselves, okay? Stop sharing all these plans and all these secrets.
Oh man, you want to be in? Come on over.
I didn't have to be. I already had the exact same plan as you guys. It didn't matter.
I just want, I won't take too long. Obviously, you've mentioned Jaden at 4th is insane. Jaden at 5th is even crazier. But you guys let San Rooster get Jaden? Did you not watch season 2?
Just ridiculously abused him all season. I know. It's insane.
Oh my god. And then he's got okay, I'm gonna stop talking. Yeah. you suck. GG's.
So the next team we've got here is Zalk. If you guys are unfamiliar, Friday Night Fights, he goes way back in that. He's a very, very strong player of the Guild Hokutin. And I hope I'm saying this right, but BOCO Buddies is the name of the team. I hope I'm saying that right. One thing I'm going to say real quick, Zalk was not 100% aware of all the rules in the draft when he started this. He took Renell and Little Leela thinking that he could pair Sephiroth and Little Leela and Renell. So that was the reasoning as he went 1, 2, 3 there with those 3 dark units. Thank God he can't run that together because that team would be terrifying. But regardless, he managed, like, I messaged him about it basically to make sure that he understood the concept and stuff. And once he did, like, he managed to piece together a really, really strong draft, in my opinion. So even like in the first 3 rounds, not fully understanding the rule set, this team looks really, really good. So obviously with Sephiroth, you can run it with Little Leela with that Helena giving time mage to Sephiroth is scary because it's one of those things. It's like when you have a unit that good, the more turns you can give them, I mean, you just funnel all of your power into that high cost unit. So I think getting a time mage early was a smart decision by him. Looking at More the Merrier is a very solid damage dealer at 80 cost. I liked it that he paired some of the wind with lightning element as well. Doesn't have that full worm triangle, but he has some of that synergy there in case he can basically like freely run lightning if he wants to. The only downside I have on this team is that unfortunately he can't run Joker with Sephiroth, but he can run Joker with like Little Leela or something and throw in one of those 80s or 70s that, we see on the board with the More the Merrier or somebody like Valric or Ayaka or something like that. He's got some strong missile options between Eliza and Lightning and managed to snag a low-cost healer right at the end too. So yeah, I mean, honestly, given the fact that I don't think he fully understood everything in the first 3 rounds, I think he managed to piece together a pretty good team. And this is his first time ever doing it. And he is a very, very strong player. So I don't know in the full draft where his team lines up roster-wise, but I know that he is scary and he will use it to the best of his ability.
Yeah, I just add, I mean, it makes sense. He was sort of slightly misunderstood the rules because you can see a few holes in his draft, a few combinations that don't quite sync up. I would have loved to have seen a 40 cost in there somewhere just to stitch some of the comps together. What I will say, like you said, He's an amazing player, and he's a very good manual player as well. He has whooped me a few times. So where his draft may be lacking, he'll probably make up for it in just IQ.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing it. And he's got Sephiroth. So, you know, it's crazy. We haven't really spoken much about him, but he's so self-sufficient.
Yeah.
It's almost, you know, you could just throw him out there with whoever, just hold some VCs. I got it. You guys sit back, chill.
Yeah.
And he'll just clear up the whole team. So, yeah, I look forward to it, man.
Yeah, I think just Sephiroth and Little Leela on their own is just a lot. Even if you don't have like a great third pairing there, that's just a lot to deal with. So
yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I think the fact that he actually didn't understand the rules, like it didn't really make any impact on the first two picks.
right,
It was really that third pick, that Ranel.
right.
But even Ranel, like she pairs really well with Sephiroth. We were talking about it, like how Sephiroth can use an enabler, and Ranel is a excellent enabler. Like she already has her 140. It make her, a lot better than what she was already. And that's basically how I run on season 1.
Right.
Is basically Ranel enabling Joker for a lot of damage. So
Yep.
yeah, Little Lily is a great pairing, but Ranel is no slouch.
Which is also right here.
It's already right there. So
and more than Merrier can take that Garvel role. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Going up to Willy Goats now. This I don't think is the correct guild name. I think I didn't swap this in time. He did switch guilds, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. But
it's not Get Swifty.
Yeah, I made this graphic, and he was the only team who hadn't submitted a team name, so I went with some of his old information from last season. So just bear in mind some of this stuff might change. But taking a look at the team, Ram, you want to break this one down?
Yeah, I'd love to. Shout out Willy Goats. I think last season he was definitely a fan favorite. Who doesn't like to see the Final Fantasy Tactics units, running awry? And it's great to see Gafgarian make a return. And this time, he swapped out his evasion deleter and his evasion runestone, and he's brought in some pretty big heavyweights. Skahal, Alphonse Elric, Tifa, the kind of B-Tech Edward Elric, she can still certainly do a job. He's got the low-cost Severo there. And what I like about Willy Goats, we can all see the units he's chosen. He gets really creative in his team comps. So while you might make a right read on paper and think, okay, yeah, I might have this in a bag, all of a sudden his buff rotation will just throw you off. All of a sudden his Alphonse is dodging you and his Gafgarion's one-shotting you. And I can't wait to see it. So great job, dude. I think your roster's stronger than season 2. And I thought in season 2 you put in a show. And I look forward to seeing it again.
Barrett, I think it's an undervalued unit. Like Barrett at 70 cost, he got a massive upgrade on all. I think he has one buff that is probably has more wards than Water Glassy on it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So yeah, I really like this team. Obviously, I think he got the Get Swifty memo about the Alphonse, Tifa, capabilities there, and Skahal in the third round. Yeah, he did an amazing job. I'm curious about that 2B.
Yeah,
at 60 cost, we have the old Tifa 2B pairing right there. With just 130 cost total. So I don't know if 2B still can hang out with the newer units, but I'm interested to see what she can do at 60.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll just reiterate all that. And one thing I'll say is he can't run a full FFT team, but he can run a full Final Fantasy VII Remake team with Tifa, Aerith, Barrett. So I will not be surprised at all to see that come out at some point, because he loves his themes. So I would be shocked if we don't see that at some point. So next coach we got is Jay Black of the Guild Dead Society, coach of Chronic Fatigue. Turnbar, you want to take this one?
All right, man. So Jay Black and Doreen, first round, really worth it. The strike team with Snow and Sasha is available. It's really good. Curry Wisset, amazing unit, really oppressive if you don't have an answer for it. The fact that we have Dark Bahamut right now, providing 25 extra frostbite resistance, is important. That was one of the things that came in the evaluation of units for us. But still, if you don't commit to it, it's really You know, you don't have him. Okay, good.
I totally
Let me-
have
let me
him.
make-
Don't bring
let me
Frostbite
make
into
a-
me. I
yeah,
have
yeah.
him, I
Sorry.
Let me
swear.
make a
I have
mental
him.
note. Let me
I
make a
have
mental
him.
note about that. Yeah, but Lucia, 70 cost, 7th round. I think that's a steal. She's an amazing unit and was very high on my board. I liked his team, but it was kind of like medium on it until I saw his 9th and 10th pick
Mhm.
of Starlight, Elena, and Killfay. Like those two units are obviously not on their prime right now, right? But when you compare them with a 50 cost
Yeah.
on, you know, Ramada, for example, or even Shadow Links for the kind of like an evasion angle, you can actually do a lot of damage. So yeah, man, I think he did a banger job. Gilfey on the 11th round there for my boy Ram. I think he can say something about that. That seems like a steal to me. 70 cost Gilfey, really good. Even though I know our friends, you know, Ready Player Will doesn't like her that much. I think she proved a lot of people wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this. I like this storyline. I like this arc that's starting to create preseason. No, guys, I know this is gonna sound like a broken record, but I know Jay Black very well. um, we were in the same guild for like 2 years. He's an awesome dude. It's great to be playing with him again. And what I can tell you about him is that he specializes in everything. He's basically he's got all elements covered. High IQ player, and like Turnbar, what you said, those 9th and 10th picks, it really just gives you something to think about, doesn't it? Starlight Elena, you know, she's kind of, because she's not top, as impressive as she was, she's kind of stuck under the radar. Her 140 upgrade is like really good. You know, she can reliably deal with evasion. She's really evasive herself. And with the Dark Bahamut card, especially with that global buff, she is so fast. You know, with her agility breaks, if she catches a haste from a TMR or something, she'll get 2-3 turns on you, chain you down, and then, you know, that's it. So great job, Jay Black. It's good to be playing with you again, and I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. If I have any knock on the team, I would have liked to seen some sort of low cost tank or something like that. But honestly, other than that, I really, really like it, and I'm excited to see him do well. So should be exciting. We've got another returning player here. We've got King Delita of the Guild Hokutin, coach of Arc Knights. And he went with a similar strategy to what we've seen from a couple of players. I know we saw from a Crane like right away. And it was basically like, hey, looks like everybody's taking tier 1s. I'm going to grab the best tier 3s that there are. So he grabbed the best tier 3 healer. Whether you can argue for cost it's the best, you can maybe make an argument for somebody else, but Naya is just ridiculous, and we've seen how good she was. And we saw how good she was paired with specifically Dario last season. One of the best teams, or probably the best team that McCrane had all season, was that Glaciella Flagbearer Dario Naya. That was only 200 cost last season. Well, now it's 220 in this season. So obviously doesn't have the Glaciella Flagbearer, but we've seen Dario and Naya outperform, you know, where they've been at previously. And I would not be surprised to see that happen again. Especially, I'm going to give one quick shout out here to Dario having his main ability is an absorb damage skill. That is amplified by healing power up, and Naya's regen ability gives healing power up to the whole team. He can drain tank like crazy, especially when you get that healing power up. So those two units, even though they're low cost, I could easily see him running them together quite a bit, but they're also so good that you don't have to. And the costs on this team, it looks a little strange because, you know, a lot of the time we see something like 90, 80, 50 or 170, 50. Well, he did 100, 80s, 60, and 40, but that still works very, very similarly in the same fashion. So it's something I like. The 100 costers can fit with Naya and Dario, or he can throw a couple of the 80s with the healer or with the tank. And if he wants to do a 180, he can throw it with the best 40 cost in the game, Murmur. So yeah, he spent his first 3 turns saying, hey, I'm going to get the 2 best 60s in the draft, and I'm going to get the best 40 costs in the draft and see where it plays out. Given that strategy, the fact that he got Reagan, he got Little Leo the Bold, he got Sottily, I mean, Garvel, like, honestly, I think he got a lot of really good tier 1 and 2s, considering the fact that he just forfeited those picks early. This is certainly, in my opinion, better than his last season's draft. And I think he really started to figure some things out like at the end of the season. So I honestly like this team quite a bit. It is not like cost wise, like something we've seen before, but you can see he structured his costs in a certain way and followed that strategy, and actually really like how he did it. So
I think those late picks, Reagan and Little League of the Ball, are why a strategy of picking tier 3 units first is relevant, and you can actually do it because you can gamble. There's so many good units right now.
yeah,
Like there's
Yeah.
from last season to this season, there is a lot more good units. So you can gamble effectively on having somebody like Reagan
Yep.
fall to you on the 8th round. And by doing that, you can secure yourself the best tier 3 units in the game. So yeah, I think he did a banger job.
yeah,
Yeah, Kason, you made a great. The more I look at this team, the more I like it. It kind of looks a bit underwhelming at first, but when you start piecing it all together, Dario Horn he's basically a UR tank now.
for sure.
And with that drain ability, with Naya, and then what I really wanted to see as I was going through, I was like, give me a big, bulky, bruisery DPS. And he's got 2 bangers in Reagan and Little Lila the Bold, who can both be very annoying to take down with their courage, and they're quite bulky, self-heals and whatnot. And then you've got Naya there just throwing up CTs when she heals, and she's got the double fallout. This is a low-key, really, really strong squad. You love to see it. King Delia, he's a great guy. Amazing job, dude.
I agree fully. When I first looked at this team, I didn't think anything, especially on the more and more I looked, I was like, holy shit, this team is actually like really, really legit. I love it. And one quick thing I didn't really cover is the McLeod with 60. Again, he's like, he can be kind of a UR level DPS, and it fits so well with the other 60s. So like maybe you don't want the sustain this time. Maybe you just want extra DPS. Now you're running Dario with McLeod and a 100 cost damage dealer. I think he's got some really nice options, and I think I think he did a tremendous job upgrading from his last season's team. So, this team all smoked up. Starny's part of Salt Squad, coach of Trap Queens. Anything you guys want to say about this team? I love the mascot pick and the team name.
I know, right? Yeah.
A man of culture is what I will say. I don't know if you guys want to break down the team.
Sure, I'll go. Look, I like Small All Smoked Up quite a bit, man. He's a great guy. Looking at the team's rosters when I was ranking them up, I put this one last. I'm gonna be honest and transparent about that. I think there is, the Celis and Astros, first and second pick, I really like. He has the searches to get that, 30 costs and open himself the possibility of playing that pair. Lucia Halloween on the third round is great. After that, I think he falls off a little bit. Fina at 60 cost was one of those units that was debating and trying to push for her to be 50, because I don't think at 60 she's doing as much as she should or she has in the past. She still doesn't have a reincarnation on the pipeline, so we're still waiting to see what that's going to look like. Cyrell is a good pick. I think Cyrell at 5th, that's okay. She is 10 costs higher than she was last season, though, so we haven't seen her fill that gap at 60 costs. So I'm a little bit curious how that's going to work out. Glassy, even at 80, I think she's fairly priced, but we need to see what her reincarnation again is going to be. Binera and Farm, those are 2 kind of like evade units that, Farm has. I think Farm, does she has that sure hits evasion skill now?
Yeah.
Kind of like what Yuffie got, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen her, I've tried with her, and it's a hard unit to use. Like that movement, that range, sometimes it gets her in bad positions. So, and to close it up with Elde and Eileen, 2 of those spear units that have been kind of like not great for a long time. With the reincarnations, I think they are better. But honestly, I see this team, and I'm really trying to get how well it's gonna do. So yeah, man, all smoked up, man. Feel free to shut me up during the season with your performance, but I think this is gonna be tough. It's gonna be a rough season.
Yeah, I just shout out All Smoked Up. What I will say is he has a ton of units. You just want to see him do well.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't love Vanera? You know, Farm.
Fan
We
favorite.
don't see her. I know, right? It's loads of fan favorites. Glacial Regalia. Dude, just bring the smoke. That's all I'll say. Trust them. We want to see you do well. I'm rooting for you, dude.
Oh, I fully agree. I think the Celis Astrius team could be really legitimate, and he's got a couple of squads that could look really good, but overall, I don't think he has a ton of flexibility in terms of like making strong compositions. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited to watch some of what he brings though, because he's style points. He's right up near the top.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I just want to see
Yeah.
Farm do
Oh,
good,
yeah.
man. I just want to
Absolutely.
see Farm do good. She has a lot of her kit. So I want to see her actually perform. That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next we got Tears for Spears. We've got Highwind of the Guild Howl, and I'll let Ram cover this one again. Another guildie. So go ahead and take
Yeah,
this team.
I'll take this one. We go deeper actually. We're actually day one players.
Nice.
He's one of the first friends I've made in the game. So shout out Highwind. Dude, I think he did an amazing job. Just the first two picks just give you so much flexibility. Glaciella Flagbearer, we've spoken about her enough. But then he's got a nice ice angle with the Pierce unit in Victoria at 70 cost. I think we all agree, that's major value. She just brings so much threat. You need a barrier break to take her down effectively. She has the charm that can just ruin your day. Highwind's a big win player, and his Doom, I'm not surprised that he's picked her so high, because it's a unit I've seen him use time and time again. And his Doom it just hits different. Not only does she take a ton of damage, but she can actually put out a fair amount of damage as well. And then you've seen how he's opened up the draft. Dark Fina, I love, bang, get that magic threat going. She also has a big dispel, which I don't know if we've spoken about this enough, but just having different abilities to handle different situations. If you know your opponent is really buff heavy and they rely on evasion buffs and attack steroids, hastes and such, having a unit that without a doubt they're going to spam their dispel attack, and Dark Fina does that with her limit break. It's a great choice. We've got Moraga Fennis, who probably get his 140 soon, gets a huge upgrade. I think you can reincarnate them for free, essentially. So he becomes a very strong tank. Lucio, the same thing. You've got Glaciella was another fan favorite, old school. She's got that insane buff that we can never remember what it actually does. We just know it's crazy. And finishes things off with Raldor, it just brings something different. It stitches a few comps together. And I forgot to mention the 30 cost Mish. You always need to factor that in. He's got the CT break, he's got that long range Toad. He can just hold a few VCs, put bow tie on him. Loads of options available to Highwind. It doesn't surprise me. He's a great player. Whoever draws him, it's not going to be an easy fight. So good job, dude. And I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I like a lot what he did here. He's got a lot of different elements going on here. He's got a couple of really nice Pierce compositions. He's got a UR composition, which again, I feel like I keep saying it, but that cold triangle that he could set up with, the Victoria to put in extra damage, Moraga to tank it up, and Glaciella, again, another spear user. So you got double spear users with the full cold triangle. That's a really nice UR composition. I probably would have liked to see one more light unit with Lucio, for the simple fact that I think he is very, very good. I think he operates a little better on a light team with that big old light resistance, debuff on the limit break. But he's a stud, and even with the cost upgrade up to 90, I think he's super, super worth it. Just with all those free stats that you can essentially get. And I agree with the Mish thing. It allows you to run, something like that Glaciella and Joom together, put all your baskets into Wind, which if you are picking an element, Wind is a good one because their vision cards are stacked. So yeah, I like a lot of what he did here, especially for the first time drafting. I think he did a really solid job. Anything to add in there, Turnbar, before we go to the next one?
Oh, talking about steals, Lucy on the 9th round.
Yeah.
He's a steal. Even though, the team you mentioned, not another light unit, he can pull a lot of weight by himself. Even his big diamond AoE now does a lot of things.
Yeah.
And and 10th round Glaciella was it. And yeah,
that's crazy. 10th round Glacial is crazy to me. I agree. Johnny B's up next. I don't know if either one of you guys want to cover this. Otherwise, I can. But Disposable Heroes, he is of the guild Lionheart HQ. Man, grabbing Yuffie and Pissarro together, that is scary. That is one thing I will say. I'm glad I don't have to face both of those at the same time. I don't think my division has both of those on the same team. So that's definitely freaky. So he has 2 30-cost units that can go with one of those. He's got both Uni and Mia. If I like this team a lot, first of all, I want to come out and say this. If I have any knock on it, I don't know if I would have taken Mia. Just because I just think Uni is better in almost every situation. I'm not saying Mia is useless, but I think Uni is if you're ranking the 30s, like Uni's up there. Like I think Uni is very respectable, and I think Mia just doesn't offer nearly as much. But in general, I like the composition. Like I said, more warm triangle stuff. I think Esther, at least in the 8th round, is respectable. I do think she's fallen off a little bit compared to some of the other 100 costers. But I would also not be shocked at all to see Esther get a new 140 upgrade within the next month or so, and all of a sudden she's a monster. Like, that would not shock me, because I think we are probably going to get some sort of global exclusive fest thing coming up. And units like that, or Ibarra, I think could end up being a really, really nice pick. The Summer Elsie, that's always just like a fan favorite pick. I think you like to see. I like that you can pair it up with more, and maybe throw in like Lorenzo or something with it. Overall, I think the team is solid. I don't think it's like top tier. However, I say that with an asterisk, because Yuffie Pissarro, and especially if that is fully reincarnation Uni, is going to give so many teams problems that it's like, maybe he doesn't have a ton of elite teams, but he has one that's just ridiculous and that you're never ever going to want to face against. That's kind of my thoughts on it. But
he's gonna win the CT battle, like no problem with Yuffie Pissarro in Uni. You know, Uni nullifying haste, nullifying quicken, nullifying CT changes. Well, your Yuffie and Pissarro can potentially be hasted, you know, with PMRs and things like that. Plus the evasion angle.
Yeah.
That team is insane.
Yeah.
That team is really, really hard to beat.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'll just echo everything you guys said. That's disgusting. He's got a few kind of niche units, I call them. But I think if used in the correct way, they can certainly perform a job. You know, Noctis, he's a bit of an unsung hero now, but there are a few scenarios where he can just shut teams down. He can tie them up for 4 or 5 turns, and it will just give an opening to an Esther, to a Halloween little Lula to just drop bombs. So it's not, like you said, it's probably not one of the stronger drafts on paper, but let's see what Johnny B has to bring to the table.
Yeah, his best team is ridiculous. I'm curious to see what other teams he throws in, but I think his best team is like an S team for sure. Yeah, I think this is the final pick of this draft, I believe, for Leonis. This is my guildmate. This is Tayo, Guild Thunder Gods, Fire Force. And true to himself, he is a fire player and a light player. And he said, I don't give a shit. I'm only running these 2 elements. So aesthetically pleasing with the fire and white, scheme going on here. I know that he wants to try some special shenanigans here that I'm not going to reveal in the video. But it'll be interesting. He's just got fire and light. He's going Terra and Rain. I do think if Rain gets his 140, it could be really legitimate. He's got Warrior of Light. That's actually an excellent pick in the 9th round. It's one of those things that, like, I just really truly have no idea which units he's going to throw together. Obviously, you know which 2 elements you're facing, but it's my guess as good as yours on which units he's going to pair up and combine together and stuff like that. He doesn't have a 30 cost, so you're not going to see Sylvie with one of the 90s. But other than that, it's pretty much fair game, and who knows what you're going to see out of these units. So I like that he has a time mage. He's got a healer. He's got some different damage dealers. He has an evasion angle with Lock and Vistral, and even Seymour, to be fair. But I will say, if I'm ranking the team like on paper, I don't think it matches up to a lot of the other ones, but I think you're going to see some spice coming out of it for sure.
Listen, that's why we're here. There's not much to analyze and dissect. What you see is what you get. And I want to see more. I want to see it in action. So I want to see whatever you've been working on, bring it. I think the fans want to see it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really do think that it's gonna have to be something really special, something really, out of the box for this to work. I think some of those picks towards the end, kind of, you could flip his draft,
Yeah.
and it would make more sense on paper
Yeah.
to what you see here. With Warrior of Light, Setia, Sylvie, even Ultra and Yuna, are good units. Then Terra and Rain on the first 2 picks. I know Rain is going to get an upgrade soon, so he's going to be no joke, right? Vistra on the 4th. That one, I want to see Vistra and what he does. Cecil is one of those units that if he gets an early upgrade, like he's sneaky good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I will say I know that is the one unit that he messaged me about that he's like, once he gets his upgrade, he's like, look out. Because he's like, I would not be shocked if he just goes and max reincarnate Cecil. That would not shock me at all. So yeah,
Respect.
it'll be interesting.
Good move.
Mhm.